Okay, so we're being joined by Bill today, and he's graciously given his time to talk to us about financial planning and really just answer any questions that you guys have around financial planning when it comes to debt and saving and budgeting and things like that. And I'll let him further explain that. But feel free to ask him anything, everything that comes to mind as he's talking. Jot some questions down about your own personal situation, or if you're just curious about anything financial. Even if he doesn't touch on it and you're curious about it, go ahead and ask him about that as well. He's here to help you anyway. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and hand it over to Bill.
Thanks, Miguel. So you guys that are on the call, I'll commend you on joining something like this. I know when I was in college, I probably wouldn't have hopped on this call. So you guys are ahead of most of your peers. But by way of my background, I grew up in a house that we weren't poor, but we didn't have any money. And there weren't a whole lot of talks about money except for, the lack thereof it. And I learned a lot of these financial things at a very early age as a young adult, but I taught myself. And I always thought it would have been nice if I had a little guidance maybe a few years prior. So Miguel asked me to come and talk about financial goals and budgeting, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But a few topics that you guys should know about is debt. We're going to talk about good debt and bad debt, and we'll end up with the best way for you guys to start saving. So I think everybody on this call is probably a junior or senior in college. Am I right on this? Right, Miguel?
They're all sophomores.
They're all sophomores. All right, great. Even better. So when you start to look at financial goals, and goals are important, you got to have them. A financial goal is I want to be a millionaire. I want to buy a new car. I want to save $10,000. Those are great. They're all great goals. But what you guys have to ask yourself is why? Why is that my goal? Why do I want to be a millionaire? Well, maybe you want financial freedom. Maybe you want the ability to provide for your family. Why do I want a new car? Well, maybe you take the bus to work and you hate public transportation and you hate the smelly guy that sits next to you every day. And if you get a new car, you're not going to have to deal with that. You'll be able to listen to a podcast to and from your office, and you're going to cut your commuting time in half. And why do you want to save $10,000? Well, I don't know. Everybody's why is different. But maybe you want a little financial security in case you have an unexpected expense that comes up. But if you get a strong enough why, the how you get there becomes a lot easier. And if you keep the why in your head, why you want this, day in and day out, it's always going to be there. And you're always going to be working towards it. Even if you don't realize it, it's going to be there, rather than just setting a goal like, I don't know, on New Year's, you want to lose 10 pounds. And then by January 5th, it's forgotten about. You got to have a strong enough why. Miguel asked me to go over a budget with you. So what I'm not going to do is bore you guys with spreadsheets and kind of classroom talk. I have a very simple budget. Very simple. Do not spend more than you make. All right? Don't put yourselves in credit card debt. Don't buy stuff that you can't pay for. All right? If you don't have the money for it, don't buy it. Very simple way to live. And if you live like that, you're never going to be in that uncomfortable position of working all month to pay your bills and not have anything left over. All right, so that's a little introduction to I'll just call it financial awareness. So before I tell you what to do, I want to tell you what not to do, right? So as we just talked about, or I just talked about, don't spend more than you make. If you spend your money or all of your money that you make every month without saving anything, you're going to have nothing to show for it. So you're out at the bars, you're buying clothes, you have the never-ending Amazon delivery showing up at the house. In a short period of time, all those things will have been used or gone, and you'll have nothing to show for it other than this just empty feeling. So just don't spend more than you make. You always have to save at least a little bit. So when we talk about debt, there's good debt and bad debt. But the bad debt is the kind of debt that you use for consumption. And what I'm talking about is credit card debt. And I tell my kids this, and I say, what kind of debt is credit card debt? It's evil debt, Dad. It's evil. Anyone that wants to charge you 20% for a loan, that's a bad deal for you. And you don't have to take those bad deals. So again, it goes back to don't spend more than you make. I'm going to share my screen with you, and I want to show you what credit card debt can do to you. So, all right, you guys see this screen? It says credit card payoff calculator. No.
No.
You don't see it? Oh, wait, hold on. I got to press share. How's that?
Yep.
Okay. So when you look at this up here, you've taken on $10,000 in credit card debt, and you're paying 20% in interest, and you're making this minimum monthly payment of $200. So when you get a credit card statement, they're going to give you your balance, and the credit cards generously say, well, here's your minimum payment, right? So at 20% interest, right? $200 a month, it's going to take you 109 months or 9 years to pay off that $10,000. And you can see at 20%, you've paid $10,000 in principal, the amount that you borrowed, and you've paid almost $12,000 in interest, right? So those bar tabs you ran up, those Amazon deliveries, 9 years from now, they don't mean anything to you. But you've paid more than double for those goods and services, right? I think for these credit card companies to charge you 20%, I think it's criminal. But all of America has credit card debt, and it's the craziest thing. To me, that's the craziest thing that you can do. So when you go down to this next example, and this gives you an idea of how interest rates work, right? When you take a loan, you want the lowest interest rate possible. So if you take the same loan from the same credit card company, right, $10,000, and now you're only paying 5% in interest rate, everybody sees that, and that same $200 a month, you pay it off in 57 months or half the time. And now you've only paid $1,200 in interest rather than $12,000. And that's the difference. So if you're going to borrow money from someone, whether it's a bank, a relative, wherever, make sure the interest rate makes sense for you. Don't pay anything with two numbers, no double digits. 10% or more, no good. 20% is absolutely criminal and terrible. That's the way I'll say that. All right, so let's talk about what to do. And again, we're on debt. So we talked about bad debt or evil debt. And that's the type of debt, again, that you use for consumption. But good debt is debt that you use to invest in yourself, right? Your education. Some of you may have student loans. You might not be happy about it, but that was an investment in yourself. Maybe you take out a loan to invest in your business. Maybe you take out a mortgage to buy a home where you're going to live and go home to every night. You want a nice place to live. Maybe you're going to take a car loan. And I mean a car for transportation, not a Ferrari to show off, right? These are things that you need. They're necessities, but they're investments, you know, in yourself, in your well-being. So in the near future, over the next 5 or 10 years, you may be fortunate enough to be able to buy a home. And this might be a little bit advanced, but I just want you guys to understand this concept again of interest rates and how you pay things off, right? So in my example here, on the left-hand side, I have a 15-year mortgage. On the right-hand side, I have a 30-year mortgage. And in this example, the loan is for $360,000, right? So I bought a $400,000 house. I put 10% down, $40,000, and now I have $360,000. In this 15-year mortgage, right, because it's shorter, the interest rate is 6 7/8. And in this 30-year mortgage, the interest rate is higher at 7 1/4. Why is the rate higher? Well, it's because the bank takes more risk on a longer term loan. That's why the interest rate is higher. The only numbers I want you to look at are the ones that are in yellow. And I just want to demonstrate that when you make these payments every month, part of it is interest and part of it's principal back to the bank. But when you take out a 15-year mortgage, you pay the balance off so much quicker, right? So on $360,000 in month 60, you have $278,000 left. That's 5 years. On that 30-year mortgage, you've paid mostly just interest. You still have $340,000 left. And then when you go here out 10 years, that $360,000 mortgage is now at $162,000. And the 30-year is still at $310,000. You've barely paid any of the principal down. So now you have a family, and maybe there's a few kids in the house, and now that townhouse you bought is getting a little too small, and now you want to buy, maybe it's your dream home or a bigger house. You have a lot more equity now when you go to sell that place that then you can roll into your new home. So the only thing I want you guys to remember, if you can swing it, get a 15-year mortgage rather than the 30. The payment's definitely a little bit higher. It's not much higher, it's a little higher. And the interest rate is going to be lower, and you're going to be really happy that you did it. We're going to take questions at the end, okay? And I think, is it Elena? She's very happy that you're smiling. You're happy you're here, no? Okay. The last thing I want to talk to you about is saving. And the best way to save is to put your savings on automatic, right? So when you guys get out 2 years from now and you get your first job, you're gonna get a nice packet from the company, and it's gonna show you all the benefits that you have, right? You have your health and maybe disability, and they're gonna present you, most companies, with a 401k plan. This is the best way to save for retirement. Now, when you're 22 years old, the last thing you are thinking about is retiring. But I'm telling you, the earlier you start, the more money you're going to have, the better off you're going to be. And you also might say, I don't have anything left. I can't save anything. You save something, whatever it is, $100, $500, $2,000, whatever it is. But these 401k plans are money, okay, that you set aside. It comes directly out of your paycheck every month. All right. You don't have to, once you set it up, it's just on autopilot. It comes out pre-tax, right? So you guys have probably all had jobs and you had taxes taken out of your paycheck. But if you make $100, there's only $70 in the paycheck because the IRS gets the other 30%. But in a 401k, when you contribute that $100, it's before you've paid taxes on it, right? So it's pre-tax money. So the whole thing goes in and you get to earn interest on it, okay? I don't think any of you guys probably want to know how much you can contribute or all the intricacies of it. The thing that you need to know is take advantage of it. The other thing that many companies do is they give you something called matching, right? So for every dollar you put in, they might give you 50 cents, right? So you put $1,000 in and they match it with $500. Take advantage of this. This is free money. In that scenario, that's a 50% return, which is insane to be able to earn that much in your money. But it's free money that the company gives you, and at least try and put away as much as that company will match. Okay. The last thing on the 401ks, don't take that money out until you retire, right? You can take it out, all right, but you're going to pay taxes on it and a 10% penalty. It's a bad deal. You can start taking money out penalty free at 59.5. Don't even think about it until then. The other thing that companies will offer you are loans against that 401k that you then have to pay back. Those are also bad deals. Don't borrow against the 401k, okay? But put away as much as you can. You guys will thank me when you're 60 and 70. All right. I gave you a decent amount. Again, what to do, what not to do. The best way to start saving is that 401k. Don't use credit card debt. Don't spend more than you make. If any, what kinds of questions do you guys have for me?
I have a question, Bill. I'm gonna kind of kick us off. Going backwards, you're talking about the 401k. I know some jobs may not offer 401k, or just maybe not even the starting jobs that they come out with out of college. Do you recommend, enrolling in your own kind of 401k, your own Roth IRA? What is that? What's the difference? Which one's better?
Yep. So yes, if your company does not offer a 401k, you can open up your own brokerage account, your own IRA. The rules work the same. And you have regular IRAs and Roth IRAs. A regular IRA, you can contribute, I think it's $6,500 a year now, and that is tax deductible for you, okay? If your company doesn't offer a 401k plan. A Roth IRA, you can contribute after you pay taxes on that money, but when you withdraw it, it's tax-free. On a regular 401k or a regular IRA, when you withdraw the money, you pay taxes on it. Roth IRAs have income limits. So once you're making over a certain amount of money, you can no longer contribute to the Roth. But when you guys are starting out, that's a perfect place to start. How about Serene? Do you have any questions?
Hi, group. My name is Serena. I am Bill's wife. I'm also one of the co-founders of MVP. So I'm on here today to learn and also to make sure my husband was doing a good job. Yeah, I think it's very important. And Bill can tell you, we have two children who are post-college now. One who's been out for 2 years from Pace University, and the other one has been out now 4 years from Gettysburg College in Pennsylvania. And I know that our daughter, she popped on real quick, but she just got called out to a meeting, so she had to leave. When she got her first job, they offered her this 401k package, and she said, "Oh, don't be silly. I can't possibly afford to pay my rent and my food and contribute to that." And that's an initial reaction, I think, a very common one. And I think what Bill will tell you is that we told our own daughter, don't resist that urge. So I was just looking like, even if you contribute, and I don't know if I'm going to put you on the spot here, Bill, but even if you contribute $100 out of each paycheck, so it's $200 a month, $2,400 a year. If you can just give the students, I guess, an idea of what that looks like in 10 years, what that looks like in 20 years, what the compound interest does to something what looks so minimal and really isn't a huge sacrifice, even though it feels like it at a young age, what it looks like years down the road.
Well, I can show you that. So I'll share my screen with you. So there are so many, just so many tools on the internet, but I just Googled savings calculator, and this is the first thing that came up. So if you start out at age 22 and you put $200 in the first month and you contribute $200 monthly thereafter, and that will bring you out to age 62, and you have earned an average annual stock market return, and we'll just leave it at 8%. That $200 a month has now grown to $649,000. And after you're working for a number of years, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years, these savings amounts are going to go up, right? You're going to start, before you know it, you're going to start contributing $10,000 a year. And then all of a sudden it's 20,000 a year, and then it's 30,000 a year. And these numbers grow much, much bigger. But you can see $200 a month from age 22 to 62 at 8%, you can see how much money you save. And that $200 a month, you don't even realize it. Once you've put that in place, it's automatic. You never see that money except you see it in your account. And then you just start to live within your means. But put as much as you possibly can away. I have another chart to show you guys that I didn't show, but when you look at stock market returns, right? This is the S&P 500, right? You may have heard this. This is an index. This represents the 500 largest companies in the United States, right? You've heard of the Dow Jones. This is similar. The Dow Jones is 30 stocks. This is 500. It's just more representative of our economy. But you can see from 1925, right down here to present, you can see what the trajectory of the stock market is, right? It goes up. Now, there are peaks and there are valleys, so it doesn't go up in a straight line. You can see it good. You see these drops, and then you see it go up, and you see the drops again, and it goes up and it drops again. So point is, and underneath here is another chart. It's the same chart, but in a bar graph, right? So the blue are up years and the red are down years. So it doesn't go up every year. There's risk involved in that, right? And some of the years are bad, right? This is a 40% down year. This is a 30% down year. You want to get to more recent history. Here's the tech bubble, which is down 30%. Here's the financial crisis in 2008. We were down almost 40%. Here's COVID. COVID hits in 2020, we're down 20%. But if you keep your money in for a long period of time, it will grow, right? And when the market drops, you still put your $200 a month away, or your $2,000 a month away, whatever it is. And you're buying all those companies at cheaper levels, your dollar cost averaging. But this power of compounding really works. And over long periods of time, it goes up. So when you're ready to retire, if that's one of your goals, you're gonna have the money to do it. But put that savings on automatic. And then on top of that, you can also save your after-tax money too.
Sebastian's asking, is the 401k money being invested in the stock market by the company we work for?
So it can be. It can be, and a lot of companies will encourage you to invest in their stock. And they'll give you incentives to do that. For example, they'll do more matching on the company stock, and it's not a bad idea to do that, but you do not want to put all of your money in the company stock, right? So, and it's just for the simple reason that it exposes you to too much risk, right? So no company is immune from bad things happening to it. So Apple is the greatest company in the entire world. You know, it's down 14% this month. But if bad earnings come out, or some new technology comes out, or there's a scandal with one of the board of directors, that can affect the stock. And if you have all of your money in one company, you know, that can be a bad scenario for you. So yeah, take advantage of company incentives that they give you. Buy some of your company's stocks, especially if you believe in it, but make sure you diversify into many other investments with the rest of your 401k.
I think Sebastian's question.
I'm not seeing the chat, so if you guys read them out
Okay.
to me, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Yeah, I think Sebastian's question was also directed at whether, like, a company, whether a manager is managing your money. You're not picking, you don't have to individually pick your stocks. I guess I think the question is geared towards.
Yeah, your 401ks typically you can't buy individual stocks. You're buying mostly mutual funds and exchange traded funds. And most of the companies will you know, they'll have someone there that can give you some guidance on your investment choices. You know, and that's another thing that once you set that, you kind of leave that on autopilot too. You will want to rebalance, you will want to you know, adjust your allocations, but that's not something you do every week. You know, that's something you take a look at once a quarter, once a year, and maybe rebalance the positions.
I don't know if you talked about this already, but like this is more about budgeting, I guess. I'm like really bad at saving money. So like what's the best way, I guess, to like start budgeting? Is there like an app or like just to make your own on Excel or something like that?
So, yeah, I mean, I don't have an app for you, but there are apps and there are all kinds of different budgeting tools, and Excel is probably the easiest and the best way to do it. But if you missed my intro, my budget is very simple. Don't spend more than you make. Period. So, and everything else falls into place when you do that. So you can use Excel or an app to plug in your rent and your electricity and your cable and your phone bill and all that stuff. But if it adds up to $2,000 a month, don't spend $2,500. You can't spend more than you make. You've got to do your best to put yourself in a savings mode. But Excel is a great way to put it down. And I don't know if you guys have noticed, but you got to really take responsibility for this, right? You can't put this on someone else. You know, not a financial professional, not your spouse, not your significant other. It's up to you. It's up to you to take the responsibility and learn enough about this so you can have success in this area, because it's really important.
And just to give you a little more, Jessica, too, if you Google Excel templates, like budget templates, there's a bunch online that you can see, and they'll like map it out for you, and they'll have a lot of the formulas already input, and that's always free. Excel sheets are always free. You can kind of grab them, copy and paste and stuff like that. But something that I use personally, I use Monarch, which is an app, and they do have it on the website too. It's not free. Monarch, I think it's like, I forget how much it is, but that just imports a lot of the data for you and helps you budget as well. I don't know if Bill's familiar with that app, but I've used that in the past too. But Excel works, and Excel is free. Bill, thank you for your time. I really do appreciate it. It was really good for me to get a refresher as well. Made me feel like I'm not saving enough, so thanks for that.
I don't want to make you feel bad.
No, it's good. It's good overall. Thank you, guys. I know finals is coming up. Good luck, work hard, and you'll make it through. If you need anything from me, please let me know.